Good morning, everybody. It is the day after Halloween, and your little pirates and princesses and superheroes have a cache of candy that they've collected. But before you let them tear into all of those sweet treats, it is inspection time, and here to talk with us about it is our pediatrician and great friend, Dr. Keith Watson. Dr. Watson, great to have you here.
Good morning.
Despite what most believe, this is the most wonderful time of year for young people. It sort of kicks off our Halloween time, doesn't it?
Yeah. We were talking before that, my kids, even when they got to be teenagers for a time, they're too old now, but they still trick-or-treated and dressed up. So.
That's where I am. I have an early teen, and she and her friends all dressed up, went out trick-or-treating and got the candy. So the cool thing about it, you do get lots of cool treats, but it cannot be sad enough. You can't just let them get straight into it. You need to kind of look and see what's there.
It needs to be inspected, and this was not something that when I was a kid you did, but now you need to inspect it, make sure that wrappers on candy don't look like they've been disrupted or messed with, or that everything looks safe.
Exactly. Another safety issue, though, aside from making sure it's not tampered with, is making sure that the candy is appropriate for the age of the child. So, you can have the cute little 3- and 4-year-olds, but loose candy that's not on a stick is kind of a scary thing for me.
Yeah, and really hard candy that has to be chewed, jawbreakers and those types of things.
Jolly Ranchers.
Jolly Ranchers, little kids, those are the perfect size for them to choke on them. So, yeah, in addition to being careful and inspecting, you have to make sure that the candy, even if it's safe on the outside, it's safe for the child to eat it.
And that's one of the things, a conversation could have been had like last week when you're out buying candy. Make sure you're buying the kinds of things that are going to be safe for the kids to eat. And most, the blow pops, anything that's kind of on a stick, chocolate, all of that usually works.
Absolutely. And you can get some of the jawbreakers and the Jolly Ranchers, those kind of things for the older kids. For me, it's Sour Patch Kids. I love them. I love those things, but those are really chewy and have to be able to be chewed properly. So those aren't little kid candies either.
You are not a dentist, but the dentist is going to say, let's just kind of, let's do it all in moderation in the first place. So let's sort of taking beyond the candy eating. It's a cool thing that kids get the candy and they're happy about it. But for the picky eater, this can be a time of year for them when they really don't want to eat anything because there are so many sweet treats around from now until Christmas, really.
Oh yeah, this time of year is candy cakes. Yeah, this is as for your diet and it's great holiday time for the dentist. It's horrible for the dietitian.
Absolutely.
It's terrible.
So what do you do to encourage your kids while you want them to enjoy themselves with all these fun things and treats, to do it in moderation and still try to get in some of those healthy things they need?
Yeah, and we've talked before, very little kids go through a normal stage of development where they are picky. And one day they love peanut butter and jelly and the next day they don't like it and won't eat it. So, you have to pick your battles there. But, with the candy, that's a great time for what we call positive reinforcement.
Yes.
If you eat your dinner and you eat an appropriate amount, you can have some candy. But you got to be careful with how much they eat. Too much sugar is not good for you. Too much chocolate can upset your stomach. Chocolate has caffeine in it.
Yes.
So you have to be careful with how much they eat. But, having them that's what the little candy pieces are. They're treats. So if you eat right and, you clean your room or whatever you want to do,
that's right,
you can have some candy being an incentive.
And in trying to get them to eat those healthy things, don't force them, because I think when you try to force the green beans on them, force the carrots on them, whatever the veggie is, it just makes them do the opposite more.
Oh yeah, and with young children trying to force food, it never works out. It ends up on the floor anyway.
At the end of the day, they're not going to starve, and that's the whole thing. You just want them to eat, right?
Yeah, children will eat when they get hungry, but this pickiness through those younger stages is absolutely normal.
All right, just bear with it and it'll pass, and before you know it, they'll be eating you out of a house and a home,
I think,
right?
they'll be teenagers and eating everything.
That's exactly
right.
All right, great advice as always. We appreciate it. Well, a charter school system that got its start in New York is setting a new standard for mental health care on campuses everywhere. Jesse Mitchell reports on this popular program.
Life that you live when you look at social media.
Club president Signoble Johansson has seen the change in himself and his peers who came out of the pandemic and came together to form Success Academy's Mental Health Club in 2021.
It just felt so enjoyable and intellectual and like safe.
The Academy offers a variety of advantages these students otherwise wouldn't have. From kindergarten, they're admitted through a random lottery, and they finish high school with a 100% college acceptance rate. Success Academy now operates 53 schools, serving more than 20,000 students from low-income neighborhoods around the city.
I try to wake up, but you can't, you just stuck there.
Each location has its own social and emotional learning specialist and is designed with well-being in mind.
People are starting to realize and identify their emotions and take charge and trying to fix whatever it is that they're trying to fix in their lives.
Success students also have access to a platform that has professional mental health help available 24/7. You will.
If I'm having, self-body issues on this certain day, I'm like, okay, I want to work on that. Or I have something I'm stressed. I could work on that as well.
Even just telling a friend, I'm going through this, is really what is going to get us to a better future.
From confidential conversations to communal chats, these kids can confidently chart their own path to success. Jesse Mitchell, CBS News, New York.
And last year, Success started offering You Will to middle schoolers, becoming the first in the country to do so. 81% more students signed up this semester. All right, when we come back, learning to cope. Cancer survivors share their tips. Mid-morning, we'll be right back. Welcome back. There are 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. That's according to the American Cancer Society. And many not only live with the disease, but the anxiety that goes along with it. During this Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Christian Benavidez shows us why stress management is so important.
For breast cancer survivor Isabel Ramos Toca, healing includes tea time.
It's the time that I stopped and nothing mattered except that collecting myself.
It's one of several strategies she's put into practice after participating in a 10-week study on stress management at the Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center at the University of Miami.
Here I found a voice. When I'm going to be in a stressful situation, how to catch my thoughts. It really gave me an outlet as to all the emotions.
The program for cancer survivors involves support groups that meet virtually. Patients learn coping skills, breathing techniques, along with other ways to reduce stress.
They show reductions in stress hormones, such as cortisol.
Dr. Michael Antoni says managing stress can even lead to better outcomes for patients. Reducing stress hormones can lower inflammation and produce a better immune response.
They have a longer period of time before they have a recurrence and a longer survival time.
Every week on Wednesday for an hour and a half, it was amazing.
Toca says the skills she's honing, such as yoga, which she picked up from the program, have helped her regain control of her life.
You don't have to be in a dark hole. You don't have to feel that you're a victim.
She's now cancer-free and hoping to help more survivors find their peace. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Miami.
Doctors say they are finding the program can help participants deal with anxiety, depression, and distress long after cancer treatment. Well, recently, pharmacists in some clinics were part of National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. This is a time when anyone can anonymously drop off unused or expired medications at specific collection sites. Mandy Gaither has more on why it's so important to properly dispose of medicine that you don't need.
It's a public health crisis. The drug overdose epidemic in the U.S. led to more than 112,000 deaths being reported in a 12-month period ending in May, according to the latest estimates from the CDC. And the numbers keep rising.
Narcotics, opiates obviously are an obvious problem for people.
And unused prescription drugs that are thrown in the trash can be retrieved, abused, or illegally sold. One reason it's critical to properly dispose of them, and that's not all.
If there's stuff in your medicine cabinet, your teenage kids or other people can get into it, or other people that are having, maybe a mental health emergency and they decide to take everything in the cabinet, which I've seen a lot of as an emergency physician.
Stephen Maher with Mayo Clinic says flushing pills is also common, but it can have devastating environmental effects.
That can actually cause problems going through the, sewage treatment plant and can actually get into the groundwater, into the soil.
On Saturday, the Drug Enforcement Administration is hosting National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. People can drop off unused or expired medications with no questions asked for free and safe disposal. That includes prescription drugs, over-the-counter medications, ointments, patches, creams, inhalers, and vials, pet medications, and non-aerosol medicine.
Type in your zip code and address, and you can find several locations where they're willing to take it back, usually at like police departments or pharmacies.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Outstanding in its field, building a full maze in the corn ahead on Mid-Morning. All right, we're back. It's pumpkin season with more and more pumpkin products available than ever before. Dietitians say pumpkin is a superfood packed with nutrients. Astrid Martinez has more on the health benefits.
What's your favorite thing about a pumpkin? Carving it.
Sam Weber and his son Felix have their car at Stop and Shop in Clifton, New Jersey, filled with plenty of pumpkin.
It's one of those things that we always have stocked. We put it in our chili, we put it in a bunch of mixes, we do the pumpkin pie.
Pumpkins are a fun fall favorite, but Cleveland Clinic registered dietitian Julia Zumpano reminds the autumn staple is also a superfood packed with nutrients.
It's high in fiber, which helps with blood sugar management, helps keep you more satisfied, helps with gut health and digestion, can also help lower bad levels of cholesterol. It's very low in calories.
Pumpkin is also a good source of antioxidants like vitamin A and C, which protect our cells from damage.
Pumpkin contains beta-carotene, which is converted into vitamin A, which can be used in the body for multiple great benefits with skin and immunity. We know potassium can help lower blood pressure.
Zumpano says it's easy to incorporate more pumpkin in your diet, from muffins to pancakes or breads.
Canned pumpkin on its own with no other added ingredients can be added into our foods, but you want to avoid purchasing foods that may have a lot of sugar or added fats that are pumpkin flavored. They may not actually contain a significant amount of pumpkin.
And don't forget the seeds. Pumpkin seeds contain a lot of fiber and protein and are also a good source of vitamin E and zinc, which can also help with immune health. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
And dietitians say a quick, easy way to incorporate pumpkin seeds in your diet. Try adding them to your salad, your oatmeal, or over yogurt. All right, as the leaves change color and the temperatures start dropping, it's time for another sign that fall has arrived. We're talking about corn mazes. Michael George visited a 7th-generation family farm to find out how farmers create these all-natural puzzles.
It's classic fall family fun, finding your way out of a corn maze.
Most people that come can't miss it. It's like you have to do the corn maze.
Sarah Potenza is part of Herd's Family Farm in Medina, New York, where they've been creating these 2-acre puzzles for years.
But turning maize into a maze takes a lot more planning than you might think. Farmers actually start drawing up designs 8 months ahead of time.
In December, we have a little conversation as a family, brainstorm ideas.
Potenza says her sister-in-law puts the ideas on graph paper, figuring out the field's exact dimensions. Come June, it's time to plant. Every stalk has to grow in just the right spot.
We put actual little flags out in both directions to make the square, and then we just take it from the grid and we lay it on there.
The next step, sending up drones for a bird's eye view of whether the maze can be solved. Then tending the field until the corn is about 8 feet tall.
Do people ever get lost in these mazes?
I've had to rescue people a few times.
It's months of hard work to create the ideal puzzle.
Here's a perfect example of people getting lost in the maze. Hello. Can we help direct you?
I'm lost.
You guys are really close. You're doing great, and you're almost to the exit right there.
Helping people get lost and find a little adventure makes it all worth it. Michael George, CBS News, Medina, New York.
Coming up, his own life is as mysterious as the characters in his story. A new documentary about John Le Carre. That story when Mid-Morning return. All right, we're back. He wrote bestsellers, spy stories that may or may not have been based on his own life. Now there's a documentary about the personal life of John Le Carre. Filmmaker Eris Morris talks about his unique filmmaking and working with him. Jeff Glore reports.
People want a simple story that explains everything. And the ugly truth is that there may be no simple story. And I find it interesting.
The Pigeon Tunnel is the name John le Carré used as the working title of his books. Pigeons sent out to fly while hunters try to pick them off. Maybe the way le Carré felt about starting every new novel. Maybe the way an interviewer might feel about talking to someone as smart and famously evasive as le Carré.
Am I in a world of fiction? Am I in a world of fact?
I really don't think any artist, I don't think he has to explain his work beyond a certain point. If it's raised those questions in you, you're already having a good time.
I've never had an interview subject who spoke as well as he did.
It's unreal.
It is unreal. I think that's correct.
John le Carré, whose real name was David Cornwell, worked for the British Secret Service and Intelligence Service before he turned to spy novels. His trademark: cerebral stories, complex characters.
Where did it come from? What's the access?
A new secret source of mine.
The books have been turned into a slew of movies.
How did you recognize me, Mr. Cully?
Well, Nicky said you were Russia's answer to the Venus de Milo.
And his life was turned into a biography in 2015.
David hated the biography, and so that triggered his competitive desire to write his own.
Do you think he also hated it because he wasn't in control of it?
Sure. I know that feeling. Look at this!
You want to be in control so bad right now.
I do indeed.
Errol Morris, who also spent time as a private investigator, pioneered a new form of documentary filmmaking starting in the late 1970s with his Interrotron, which allowed him to interview subjects through a camera lens, like a news anchor uses a teleprompter to read.
It's like a bad dream. You want to wake up, but you can't do it.
1988's The Thin Blue Line, investigating the murder of a Dallas police officer, marked the first time Morris experimented with using his voice as interviewer in his films.
What was the Saudi ambassador's reaction to this?
He wanted reassurance.
Since then, Morris has made some of the most heralded documentaries of our time, involving some of our most complicated personalities.
Events afterwards showed that our judgment that we'd been attacked that day was wrong.
Now we add le Carré to that list.
I'll answer any question you wish me to answer as truthfully as I can.
Do you think he was truthful with you?
Do I think anybody is truthful with anybody, including themselves? I have a very simple answer to that. No. What is this crazy idea that the purpose of an interview is to hear someone speaking truthfully when we know that people never speak truthfully? There's a very deep and annoying confusion about truth, that somehow it's handed over to you. You know,
you expect it.
Whether you expect it or not, that you're going to get it. I'm not so much interested in how other people see my central figure, my protagonist. I'm interested in how they see themselves.
I have never submitted to analysis. I feel if I knew any secrets about myself, I'd deprive myself of writing.
One of the things I love about this particular interview is he's constantly telling you that the things that he's telling you are false. Who does that kind of thing?
John le Carré.
John le Carré.
I can see my own life still as a succession of embraces and escapes.
The Pigeon Tunnel dives deep into le Carré's tortured relationship with his father, a con man who spent his life in and out of prison.
Of truth, we didn't speak. Of conviction, we didn't speak.
Le Carré became a father too, a better one, to Simon and Stephen. Was your dad an easy or hard man to know?
He was a very easy man to be with. Was he an easy man to know? Probably not.
Was that frustrating for you?
I think, no, it wasn't frustrating. I mean, I think it was the uniqueness of knowing him was that you recognized that his creative space, his writing space, and the energy and fuel it took to live in those worlds of his imagination was very consuming for him.
It wasn't planned this way, but Morris's conversations with Le Carré happened just shortly before Le Carré died in 2020. Both of them in a room full of mirrors, two masters of interrogation, trying to get each other to reveal themselves.
I've never had this happen in all of the films that I've made. He says to me, the question you don't really want anyone to ever ask you, who are you?
I needed to know who I was talking to. Were you my friend across the fire? Were you a stranger on a bus? Who are you?
Who are you? I don't know who I am. How do you answer such a question?
And if I can't answer that question, not that I won't, but maybe I can't.
Then we'll struggle on and find out who you are.
And at the end of the movie, he does answer that question of who he is, in part.
Stay with us. We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, be sure you stay connected with us. We love to hear from you. We'll see you back here next time.